Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we'll check in with the Ames Water and Pollution Control Department. My guest today is John Dunn, Director of the Water and Pollution Control Department. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a while since we've had you as a guest, and a lot of really exciting things are happening in your area. Talk to us about what's been going on.
Well, the design of the new water treatment plant has been completed. We finished that earlier in the spring of this year. We have received our construction permit from the Department of Natural Resources, and we have also just wrapped up a very successful bid opening on the project, so we're ready to move ahead now.
This project has been going on for a long time. It seems like everything's kind of happening right now, but give us a little history.
Well, the project first showed in the city's capital improvement plan clear back in 2007. The work towards a new treatment plant really kicked off in the summer of 2009 when the consultants who were evaluating the existing facility made a recommendation to the council that the city start pursuing the design and construction of a new drinking water treatment plant.
So this plan really started out looking at a potential expansion of the existing campus and sort of ruled against that idea.
It did. It started out as an evaluation of what it would take to renovate, modernize, and expand the existing facility so that it would be ready to serve the next generation in Ames. And as a part of the evaluation, the consultants that came in, they said that this facility that was built in 1924 had actually reached the end of its useful life, that it was just not cost effective to try to do yet another renovation of the facility.
And that sort of opened the door to looking at different sites and another way of producing water for our residents.
Yeah, that's right. The direction that we received from council in 2009 was to look at constructing a new lime softening plant at a new site. And the new site part actually took us about 2 years to get that all ironed out. But we did ultimately secure property at 1800 East 13th Street, right out near the Harley-Davidson dealership in the Hart Center. And that's where the home of the utility is going to be now for many, many decades to come.
So one of the things you looked at was the capacity of the existing plant, where we might, how much water we might need in the future, and again, ruled out expansion. How much larger is the new plant going to be?
The new plant is going to be a 25% increase in capacity over what the existing plant is. We currently have a plant that's rated at 12 million gallons per day. The new plant is going to be constructed initially at 15 million gallons per day, and it's laid out so that it can be sequentially expanded to at least 25 million gallons per day. So the site is, like I mentioned earlier, is really set to serve the Ames community for several generations to come.
So put that into perspective, a hot summer day in July, how much water might the city be using?
Currently we see peak days that are running just under 10 million gallons per day. But the demand projections that our consultants have helped us put together, we were looking at 13.5 to 14 million gallons per day within the next 20 years, which is more than what the current capacity of the existing plant has.
And again, it's not just for residential use. You would need to be able to provide an infrastructure that would accommodate a potential new business or industry that would come to town.
Yeah, that's really one of the goals of the utility, is to be proactive, looking ahead to the needs of the community and making sure that we have the infrastructure in place to support whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial growth in Ames.
So as you look into the future, obviously across the country we've seen different communities deal with drought and water shortages. How does that affect a community like Ames?
Well, here in Ames, we're fortunate that we have a pretty reliable source, the groundwater source that we use. It is certainly subject to influences of droughts, and we do have, as a part of our capital improvements plan, time to come online right about when the new plant comes on, the addition of some new wells as well to help expand our capacity to help us during drought times.
But one of the things I think your department has been great at doing is really helping residents to understand that water is a limited resource.
It is, and the message that we really try to push is that the outside lawn watering in the summer is something that we want customers to be conscious of. We certainly are not telling people don't water, but the message that we're trying to convey is be smart in how you do it. Make sure if you're irrigating, you're not putting on too much water. That actually is detrimental to your lawns when a drought comes. And also look like if you've got an irrigation system, if you've got a sprinkler head that's knocked askew and it's spraying out into the street, that's certainly not doing anybody any good.
We've had some extreme variations in our summers recently, and for whatever reason, we've gone from very, very dry summers to this past summer was fairly moist.
Yeah, and we certainly saw a reduction in demands this year. The demand for drinking water during the summer of 2014 was about 30% less than what we have seen the previous 2 summers that were more characteristic of a drought.
Right, and last summer was extremely dry and dusty, and lawns basically went dormant. We really don't know what to expect for the next coming years. It's interesting you sort of have a message of moderation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just be smart in how you use it, and that helps keep down the cost of water for all of the customers.
So as you go into developing this new plant, obviously you continue that message of moderation and of smart water use. But even the plant itself was looked at. I think you looked at some sustainable practices in its design.
Yeah, sustainability was a big issue for us as we were developing the site, both as we were laying out the treatment process and as we looked at how the facility was going to sit on the site itself. We were fortunate enough during the design process that the Iowa Department of Natural Resources came out with a grant program called their Green Project Reserve. And what that's going to allow us to do is to construct this new water plant to a LEED standard, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. And we're going to get a $6 million grant for doing that. And in return, we're able to incorporate features into the design of the facility that's going to lower the carbon footprint and also help to lower the operational cost of that facility over the coming years.
Well, you mentioned a little bit about the construction costs. I think you were pleased when the bids came in. We had engineers estimate the cost of the plant, and bids came in a little bit lower.
They did. The engineer's estimate on bid day was $55.564 million, and we received 4 bids, and the engineer's estimate was right where you wanted. It was right in the middle of the 4 bids. The low bidder was Knutson Construction out of Minneapolis, and their bid was just a little over $3 million under the engineer's estimate. So that's a tremendous savings for the utility.
Obviously, you want a contractor that you can trust. We have a contractor who is familiar with this kind of facility, correct?
Yeah, they are. We've never worked ourselves with Knutson, but they have done a lot of this type of work in the upper Midwest. They've done treatment plants in Iowa City and in Fort Dodge, so they're familiar with the magnitude and scope of what we're doing, and we're really looking forward to working with them.
Well, a project in the 50 millions is something that not a lot of people get an opportunity to work with. I'm sure your department's very excited.
Oh, yeah, everybody is really excited. We understand that this is, for folks who work in a utility, this is a once-in-a-career type of a project, and I really think the community's going to be proud of what they see when we, three years from now, when we come and cut the ribbon on this facility.
So your current facility down by the power plant was a frequent site for scouting groups and tours, and classes would often come. Do you imagine that the new facility will offer that kind of opportunity? It
will. A lot of the design consideration was really built around how to facilitate tours. One of the challenges with the existing facility is that it's not laid out well for access by folks with disabilities. The new plant was designed with access for disabled visitors in mind, and so it should make that a whole lot easier for folks to come and tour that facility.
And although it will be a completely new treatment facility, the actual process of processing the water hasn't changed. Is that correct?
That's right. The actual chemical processes that we use, the physical chemical processes, are identical. Certainly, we're talking about technology to do that that's 30 to 50 years newer than what we're using now. So there's going to be improvements in the efficiency of how we're doing it, but the treatment process itself is unchanged.
So what people really are concerned about is the taste.
The taste. Yeah, that was one of the very first meetings we had with the consultants. We told them that is so important to this community. People take so much pride in the taste of water in Ames. We did not want to do anything that was going to cause that to change. And I don't know that folks will be able to tell a difference when we switch from one plant to the next.
Well, that is something that we'll all be testing in 3 years from now when we get that first drop of water. Well, I want to congratulate you on a successful groundbreaking. The dirt has been turned and now things are really going to start happening.
Yeah, we had a nice ceremony. We were pleased to have representatives from the USDA there. They were the folks that helped us acquire the property, and also the Iowa Department of Natural Resources, who supported us through many ways, technical issues, funding issues, particularly that $6 million grant. We were really happy that they were able to be there, and it was pretty exciting to see the mayor and council turn those first shovels of dirt.
So the groundbreaking is over and the first drop of water is predicted?
We are shooting for the summer of 2017 to have the first drop of water go through the plant.
Well, excellent. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
Well, if you'd like more information about the City of Ames water plant, you can always find that online at cityofames.org/water. Also remember, as we get into October, we have Yard Waste Free Days coming up. Our first Yard Waste Free Day is October 25th. It's followed by Free Days on November 8th, 15th, and December 6th this year. You also can get more information on those on our website. And one more item for your calendar. Remember, Trick or Treat Night in Ames will be held from 5:30 to 7:30 on Friday, October 31st. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.